political compass. I haven't watched that video yet. So I'm about to, though. Syncing to passwords, blah, blah, blah. Where is my actual profile? There it is. My channel. Let's see if it's posting. Okay, it is posting. Live now. I love the way it has my head turned all the time because I constantly looking at my computer. I don't know how to undo that though. Okay. Let's see. Huh. Copy. Whatever. Just trying to figure out if I could copy that. Twitter. Get my music back on. Interesting. I don't think my picture looked like that, but that's alright. Alright, let's get Joe Rogan back on. Because we're going to get into why Lawrence Krauss thinks that we want meaning in our lives.
For a while, but it really isn't. If you're never outside your comfort zone, then you're never growing.
I know.
I love that quote in the book. I think that
I know you got to get outside your comfort zone.
Discomfort is just people are tired. You know, sure, jobs, they've got families, they got a lot of stuff to do, and something like this comes along that just like throws a monkey wrench into the gears of the mind.
Yeah, it does, but sometimes you want your mind.
Yes,
and sometimes you can skim over or try with each books and say, okay, so that part you can get, but it's not like suddenly you won't understand the rest of the book. And the stuff is so neat. The idea that there's this invisible field everywhere in the universe that changes the way you haven't got there in the book yet, but that changes our picture of the universe is amazing. And people should have the opportunity to know that our picture is.
I don't think I've read the entire book. I'm going to have to do that.
Just like an icicle on a window that whose direction, if you lived on that icicle, might seem very special to you, but it's an accident. And it turns out the forces of nature are what they are by the same kind of accident, because some field froze in the early universe in some direction. If it had frozen in another direction, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation. That's
would we be a different thing?
Well, in fact, in most cases, you wouldn't even have you and me, because
wouldn't have you and me.
Particles that have mass, and you wouldn't have stars and galaxies and planets. Now, what there would be, I can't say. But I could definitely say.
Why are we here conscious and aware when we can't even explain how matter creates this consciousness? And you're admitting that if there weren't a certain field in the universe at the initial stages of the universe, there probably wouldn't be any life at all, let alone consciousness. And you're saying it's insignificant. It's just an accident and a coincidence. Everything you say is true and self-evident to me, except that you think everything's insignificant. That's not a scientific objective fact that everything's insignificant.
Microphysical reason why that happened, that why oatmeal would boil a bubble of occurs in one place and not another. Right. But there's something significant about that bubble popping up here or that.
Nothing's significant according to what you're saying. So why even have the word significant? Why am I even impressed that nothing's significant, since the word significant doesn't mean anything?
Our universe is the way it is because the field froze in a certain direction. Now, true, there are laws of physics that say the field can freeze in that direction, but it's also laws of physics that say the field could have frozen maybe in another direction.
I hope so. That's where the significance is. If there were laws that said it couldn't have done anything else but been in that direction, that all initial conditions led to that field going in that one direction, then you could try and claim that it was all an accident, that was initial condition.
Every field is associated with an elementary particle. So the electric field is produced by a coherent state of photons, the ultimate quanta of electromagnetism. The individual particles that are going into your eye right now and are being absorbed by your eye.
Why did it happen that way if it could have happened any other way? It just happened to happen a way that would bring consciousness into living beings, into organic beings. To me, it seems like it does. I'm not going to argue religious arguments for it. I'm just arguing specifically that pantheism, which everybody blows off as non-scientific, seems pretty reasonable. That if awareness is part of that field you're talking about, it would want to be in the universe it created, wouldn't it? It's important to just be aware of what is going on. Yeah, that is what's important, is to be aware of what's going on.
Exactly,
and yet it's being discovered, it's being contemplated, it's being studied,
and it's not just that it's being done, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's changed our picture of our place in the universe, and therefore, I think science is like art, music, and literature.
We're back to that now. I must have rewound too far.
Technology, and some people think that's all science is good for. Sure, it produces the technology that's allowing you and I to have this conversation.
No, I don't think science is just about technology. That's the whole point. If it was just about technology, then we wouldn't be having this discussion.
And that's what's so wonderful. And I once said that science is sort of one purpose to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I thought I felt regretted that for a while, but it's really.
I love this song.
If you're never outside your comfort zone,
I want to play the song over and over again.
I completely agree. I love that quote in the book. I think that for a lot of people, that discomfort is just, people are tired. You know, they work, they got jobs, they've got families, they got a lot of stuff to do. And
I love the way that people use the idea of that they work and have to pay bills, and they have a life, and therefore they're uncomfortable with having to face anything in reality that doesn't pay their bills or their food or whatever. It actually contradicts what's coming up in this interview, where Florence Cross points out that we're social animals, and that's why we do want meaning. How can you have it both ways?
It's amazing.
At the beginning of this part, not the beginning of the interview, but the beginning of this point in the interview, he just argued. Joe Rogan himself argued that people are too busy, they just want to work, they don't want to be blown away by philosophy or physics, or, that everything is strange or in any way, or how, don't want to get deep into physics or quantum physics. And then towards the end, not of the interview, but at this point in the interview, he starts talking about how that people created religion because they're seeking meaning. So is it that we do want meaning or that we don't want meaning?
Everything we see in the universe will be gone.
But you're confident that it was an accident at some point in time, and that's what created it.
What I mean by accident, no more of an accident or less of an accident than an icicle on a window. Now, if you look at icicles on a window with their beautiful patterns, they're in all different directions. Now, there's a physical reason ultimately why one icicle.
Accident is not a scientific word.
But there's no significance to that. It may have been a dust particle.
And neither is the word significance. These are values that you're placing on your observations, which create a bias.
But there's nothing significant.
Sorry, I'm responding to everything Lawrence Krauss says because I have no people in my room to respond to.
It's not fate. It's not designed.
Right.
If anything is possible in that icicle, okay? And so what
I'll agree with you that anything is possible and everything isn't designed. That's the joke of determinism and your whole argument in physics that the universe is determined.
But it's also
if it's not designed, then it's not determined, right?
And if it did, everything would be different.
Because he admits everything could be different, and therefore, if everything could be different and it all just happened by accident, then that doesn't sound like determinism. That sounds like indeterminism, like everything just happened in one way and it could happen another way, and there's no law of cause and effect. There's no causal chain that led to this that couldn't have happened in any other way.
So the electric field is produced by.
I love you, Lawrence Krauss. This is interesting for sure.
The ultimate quanta of electromagnetism. The individual particles that are going into your eye right now are being absorbed by your eye so you can see me. The reason you can see light is it's a lot of little particles entering your eye that are reflecting off.
Man, I got to put these songs together in order so that they
and it turns out
like crescendo
every
to each
field,
other.
which is a point, which is a function of points in space. The electric field in this room. There's a magnetic field in this room because we're there, and the Earth has a magnetic field, right? If I put a compass here, we'll feel the magnetic field. That's because actually there's this coherent state of photons that are basically very regular in space. That's really what a field is in quantum physics. A very regular configuration of elementary particles that are.
Okay, so the field is elementary particles, which is referring to the Higgs field. Okay, so now I know what field. Now I know what field is referring to.
The particles that make your body and my body up, when we move through it, they experience a resistance that causes them to behave as if they have mass. If the field wasn't there, the particles would be massless. It's like swimming in molasses.
It would be massless. It's like swimming in molasses. This is again where I was like, he's like writing poetry in physics. It's awesome.
You're pretty damn tired again. You feel like you weigh thousands of pounds. We're swimming through molasses. We just don't see it.
Yeah, I know. It's density.
I mean, it sounds like, as I was just saying earlier today, it sounds like religion. Responsible for our existence. That sounds like religion, except for the fact that physics.
I don't think it's fair again if there's a field that's responsible for everything that verifies some sort of religion. It's so weird that he reduces everything to religion.
At a single point, I should kick out real particles if that field is there. If the Higgs field is there, if I dump enough energy in
if there were a permeating force in the universe, like Star Wars says, and then people try and turn that into religion, just basically you can't have an experience that contradicts what atheists think without them calling it religious, because they think religion, spiritual, metaphysical, that all of them are the same words, and it's not all the same words.
We announced the discovery of 50 particles that looked and sounded and walked and quacked like Higgses, and we now have.
When I hear music and I get uplifted, and it's almost like a spiritual experience, I don't call it a religious experience because it doesn't convert me to any dogma or any specific beliefs. I don't like the word religious experience being used the same as spiritual experience. It's annoying.
It's an amazing plan. But is it a consequence of this field or yes? Well, the properties of the universe we experience are a consequence of that field. But that field being there is as much an accident as an icicle freezing on a window in a certain direction. The field could have frozen with a different value. It could have frozen with a different magnitude. Or
See, that's where I'm going.
well, look,
If it could have frozen in any value it wanted,
Why you can determine in one way or another the field.
Here, let me give you an example that I try and use. In fact, it just got a version of it just went online. I used the beer bottle as an example.
he's a beer bottle.
Okay, good. I don't know if you've ever had a party and you forgot to put the beer in the fridge.
So right now what we're doing is we're listening to Lawrence Krauss being interviewed by Joe Rogan. And I am working on it. I'm researching everything I can about interviews done with him in his books. Because I know who he is, but I don't know everything I need to know because I'm preparing for an interview. Hey, how you doing? I love your handle. Is it like Jack? What the fuck? Is that your name? Knock this volume down a bit.
You could think of the properties of that beer.
I just like had the volume up really loud so that I could concentrate on what Lawrence Krauss is saying. Because never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. It's obvious what's happening in my chat room, in my broadcast.
And as the universe cooled down, suddenly it found it would rather be in a certain configuration. It would rather be frozen than liquid. Okay?
The universe rather be frozen than liquid. So the universe coincidentally decided that it wanted to be in a physical constraint that would allow biological organisms to occur. Just coincidentally by a field that just happened to freeze the exact way that would allow organic beings to evolve just in a way that just so happened to allow all these organic beings to achieve consciousness, which just happens to have a property called awareness that science has no explanation for how awareness emerges from matter. These are like a lot of coincidences, you know what I mean?
The dust that's on your window and the wind that's blowing and everything else is going to determine what that pattern looks like. But every day, if you had a new...
Now, of course, my discussion with Lawrence Krauss will be that I am questioning that these things are coincidences, that there's too many coincidences to explain, but I'm not saying that the only alternative is that they were designed, and they are specifically designed by creator. This creator is specifically exactly the creator of this or that religion. Quite the opposite.
And there's no special significance to the universe in which we live that meant God meant it to be. It could have been quite different. We should celebrate that it's not quite different.
If it could have been quite different, why isn't it? That comes back to the philosophical question of why is there something rather than nothing? Have you really solved these questions?
All of the wonders of the universe. Let's celebrate that. So it doesn't mean we're meaningless just because the universe has no purpose. We make our own purpose in our own life. It means, to me, in some sense, that life is more purposeful.
I am not questioning whether the universe is meaningless and we should have values of meaning. That's the word meaning. Meaning, when you use it to imply, I want to have meaning in my life. I want to feel good about life. I want to feel comfortable with this. That's not what I mean by meaning as a philosopher. Meaning of things means I want to know the reasons behind things and why they work. I use meaning in the same way that scientists would use. I want to know what is the purpose behind things. I want to know cause and effect and how reality came to be and what the nature of reality is. That's not the same as saying I want to have meaning in my life, meaning I want things to happen in ways that make me feel good, or like if I see some pattern where I see numbers of people's birthdays and I win the lottery and I go, oh, that proves I had a psychic premonition. That means that one of the gods in the universe is looking out for me or something. I'm not trying to create stories when I say I want meaning and create explanations to make me feel better. Okay, so now we're getting into the part of the interview where Lawrence Krauss is talking about how we want to believe. And I went over this before my last broadcast. I don't want to believe. I addressed it constantly when Matt Dillon and other atheists in the atheist community try and say, I want to believe that which is true. I don't want to believe anything. I want to know what is true. I don't care about belief. I'm apathetic to belief to the point where I'm not apathetic because I'm opposed to it. I would like that word to go away.
Okay. The ones that didn't are the ones that reproduce. Right? And so
okay, now we're going to get to the social part, I think.
To want to find purpose and meaning in everything.
But isn't that just recognizing danger or potential danger?
Well, of course it is in that case. But a side effect
here we go.
Anticipating danger is to ascribe significance to things that may not. You're much luckier if you're much not luckier, but much more likely to survive.
Yeah,
if
here we go.
you ascribe significance to everything, perhaps in the early days, than if you ascribe significance to nothing.
But when you talk about significance,
it's an evolutionary survival trait to just subscribe significance and meaning to everything. Therefore, any actual experiences you have that you think are significant or meaningful, you're just imagining it. It's just a survival trait.
You're talking about something powerful. This is the one that is meant to be the leader of this tribe.
Well, that's a consequence. Right. Yeah, but it works at all levels.
Okay, here we go.
It works at all levels, from the fact that the leaves are rustling and it means it's fine. But once we have that hardwired thing, then we want then our desire to believe continues. And
I don't know about the desire to believe continuing. I don't think every time I hear leaves rustle in the wind that I want to think that it's a lion about to attack me. I don't think I have a desire for that. Okay, now here's where he's getting to, where he says that tribes in the past history of humankind, civilization started with tribal cultures, and it was based on the evolutionary purpose of civilization and tribes getting together was to create meaning where there is none.
Each one is inconsistent with every other one. But which is the reason we know that they're probably all wrong.
Yeah, they probably are all wrong. Which is why we have philosophy, which is what science came out of, because we really want to know the nature of reality. And philosophy was only strong enough to ask the questions and not to get the answers.
Then certain things eventually,
but they can work together.
Even though they work and were useful early on, as our human condition changes, they may not be so useful.
Well, that seems to be the place where we're at now.
Yes,
as a civilization.
exactly. I would argue that religion is turning out to be counterproductive now. It may have been useful early on.
I don't think religion was ever useful early on. The problem is studying anthropology. What we used to call, what we called religion way back in the past, was not political. Not before the Sumerians and the Egyptians and all that. Back if you go back to the tribal thinking of animism and the totems and stuff. Although I'm not going to say that we weren't political animals from the beginning. It wasn't as intense as it was when organized religion got together.
Am I believing that because I want to believe or because there's evidence? So if we constantly are skeptical of ourselves, we can know to overcome.
Yeah, we should be skeptical of everything, which is what, just even question everything as a philosophical value that has nothing to do with objective scientific fact. Socrates is the philosopher that started to say that we need to question everything, and it became a principle in science, but it came from philosophy, and it's the basis of science.
Right. And so we should be asking ourselves, okay, maybe I should go beyond my predilections.
So I'm just doing this broadcast just to test my YouTube channel to see if it'll record it and see if it's worthwhile. I know I'm going to watch this back and go, oh my God, I appear crazy, or I'm never looking at the camera, or both. But I just want to test it.
And it's fine. Maybe some of them are right. But the only way to know is to test them.
Now see, he comes to the point to say maybe some of them are right, and we should test them. That's interesting. Because it's like 90% of the battle of atheists is to show that all ideas of reality are false. Especially if they have any mystical, religious, spiritual significance at all. They're all false. And he says, let's go ahead and test all of it and see what's right. Which is it? Do we test all of it and see what's right, or just assume it's all wrong because it hasn't been established yet? Which is it?
And why? Because it offends his personal faith.
Perhaps. It might also be a political point. It might be a thing.
Thank you, Joe Rogan. Thank you for pointing out that a lot of motivations are political.
Subscribe to the same sort of superstitions that they do.
Yeah, that could be. He did this before he was in a national. He was a congressman.
Oh man, this music is crazy.
Who knows? But the point is that we should realize that that we shouldn't listen.
So I'm doing this experiment because this is the weirdest time for me to broadcast. And if people want to actually see this broadcast, I'm trying to do this experiment where I can put it on YouTube. That way, people will get to see more of what I do, and they might want to actually come in and ask questions rather than just watch it on YouTube.
Because you don't have to believe in the Big Bang, but it really happened. You don't have to believe in evolution, but it happened. It's like Philip K.
No, belief does not make reality. Believing in the Big Bang or evolution or not believing it has nothing to do with the objective reality of it.
Okay, and so you may not want to.
Which is why we need to get rid of beliefs.
And for you to withhold that kind of knowledge from your kids because you're worried it's going to affect their faith is, in my opinion, childish. Because you're hindering their capabilities as an adult.
No, definitely. I agree with Lawrence Krauss on this. You shouldn't withhold knowledge because you're afraid it'll affect the faith of the child that you're forcing your beliefs on.
I don't know if you're a parent. I am. We've all screwed up our kids, right? We all do things to our kids because we think it's good for them. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't.
Sure, what's good for your kids is to make sure that they have the exact same political and religious beliefs that you do. And it doesn't matter whether they can succeed in life or anything, except on the level that that you can brag about them and say how great they are because you're the ones who made them that way. Other than that, they can fail or kill themselves. So as long as they behave well in school and make you happy, and then make you proud by becoming successful, making money, or being your religion and political beliefs, so that they are little mirror children of you. That's all that really matters. And that's how you say you love them. Like I said, all my broadcasts are going to be available as YouTube videos because it's the only way I feel comfortable even trying to make a YouTube video. At least that's how I feel now.
Of course, that way it was their effort. It was their effort to understand the world around them based on what they do. It was normal. They tried to understand the world, and so there's nothing wrong with it.
The thing though is that
Today should
that
be guided by the worldview of how illiterate peasants in the iron.
no, we shouldn't like be guided by the worldview of illiterate peasants and created their organized religions of monotheism crap, which is nothing but a twist on the polytheistic religions that they came from, where they basically copy people's stories. But if you study anthropology and mythology, you'll find out that if you go further back into cultures, if you look at Joseph Campbell and his study of mythology, no, terror religion apart is being outdated. But like I was saying, if you look back before organized religion, they go back to shamanism and animism and all the oldest teachings and understandings of reality. They really were trying to understand reality. Once religion became organized, it wasn't about understanding reality. The few people that crossed the line out of their religion and really did try and ask questions were kicked out. Spinoza, I think, was a philosopher. Anybody who's like Spinoza or somebody who questioned whatever the religion taught. I think Copernicus and some of these other people were actually part of the church. And once they wanted to scientifically know how he was and contradict what the church taught, the church kicked them out. So they weren't all atheists, as religious people love to point out. The people that made advances in science weren't atheists. Well, that actually goes against them because those people were kicked out of their church for not they were religious people who weren't kicked out for being atheists. They were kicked out for challenging what the church wanted to teach people. Look up Inquisitions and Crusades if you want to understand that it's more than being kicked out. They actually killed and persecuted people for it.
I'm not a bad person for asking questions. And I'm not alone. These people from small towns in Georgia, they have no one to talk to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, there's definitely Bible belts in places where people who don't believe in religion, who, live in small little places that are just dominated by organized religion, and they can have their views. So I really appreciate that Lawrence Krauss reaches out to atheists, non-believers, skeptics. But I think we should reach out to spiritual atheists that want to know the truth, even if it turns out to be spiritual. Or if metaphysics actually shows that reality is more than what current science is comfortable with. Scientists make religion uncomfortable. Then I'm going to say philosophy is here to make scientists uncomfortable. We're going to ask questions that make scientists 1,000 times uncomfortable. We want to see scientists squirm the same way scientists want to see religious people who assume everything they think about reality is true, make them squirm. We have the same motivation. We want them to be uncomfortable so that they all question their own views and not just do science for the purpose of whatever their purpose is, but actually care about the results and the consequences of their experiments and their science and their methodology, and whether there's bias in it or not, and how we set public policy, and how we understand each other. Understand ourselves and each other as human beings, and our purpose or place in this universe, if we have one. And we shouldn't assume anything we shouldn't assume anything about that is guaranteed one way or the other.
There's some purpose. There's some biological purpose to it. And so to argue that it's both unnatural and wrong is to misunderstand biology. People go off being told it's evil because the Bible said it. And then they don't want to give people who are homosexual the same rights as other people because they say God didn't want them to have those.
Okay, so now he's touching upon gay rights and how it's in biology and it's in evolution, and people try to use the Bible to justify morals that aren't even based on scientific fact or reality, that it's just the way nature is. And it's going to affect humankind the way it affects every living creature on the planet. It's really strange, though, because there are, I think, asexual living creatures in science. I don't know if it's on the amoeba level or whatever, who reproduce asexually and other ways of that. And nobody would make a moral thing against someone who is asexual. Plus, the thing I brought up before, which is, I was in, I think, Brie and Christy's chat room, and I brought up the fact that people, if you tell somebody that you are mentally attracted to the energy of males or females, nobody blinks an eye or cares. Most people don't understand it. The people who do will just shrug and say, so what? So, in other words, why is it more important or significant what you are sexually attracted to than what you are mentally? Like, if you want to have physical interaction, why is this more significance of morality than if you want a mental interaction or emotional, like spiritual, just talking to somebody, connecting with somebody? Where do we draw the line between physical and mental? Guys that hang out at a bar and give each other hugs because they're friends and brothers. That's touching. Where's the line drawn anyway between mental and physical? Why do we put morals on one and not the other? It's a very interesting topic for me. Not because it's sexual, but because where people draw lines and boundaries is what interests me. Yeah, you made Lawrence Krauss makes a great point here. It's like a lot of people call themselves Christian just because they think it means good people. But I will make a similar point to Lawrence Krauss that a lot of people call themselves religious because they think it means the word spiritual. And when they have a spiritual experience, they say they have a religious experience when they really mean spiritual. And because of all this crap, people like Lawrence Krauss are going to say it's going to refer to everything as religious, whether it's religious or spiritual.
What an awful, disgusting idea.
Oh, I missed what he just said. Which I could rewind, I guess. But I'm going to probably end this broadcast in a few minutes and just see how this came out.
And it has this hilarious instruction manual because it's translated from Chinese to English.
I might go on at 6 p.m. tonight because I think I'm expecting a call from my cousin, and I want to kind of get deep into stuff. And it's going to be interesting because usually our phone calls are uncensored, and I can get into all kinds of stuff and get as weird as I want, cuss as much as I want, even if I feel foolish doing it just because I want to have more fun. It's going to be interesting because we haven't had a deep conversation in a while.
And when you think about, and this is, if you ever looked at this, what's amazing. So people say the Bible, it's just the Word of God, but they don't realize that this came by. In fact, the King James version was decided by a bunch of people who decided what to throw out. There were parts of the earlier Bible.
Yeah, that's true.
They determined what is now the Old Testament. In the King James version was a bunch of.
That's true. Every book in the Bible was voted on. Let's keep this. Let's throw that away.
Have you ever heard of John Marco
Allegro? Oh, Joe Rogan is bringing up Allegro, saying that Christianity was based on a mushroom cult. The sacred mushroom of the cross. Yep. Joe Rogan's bringing up the sacred mushroom of the cross. That's like one of my favorite books, and I found it in a library, and I knew I'd never find it again, and so I paid the library and took it. And John Allegro also wrote about the Dead Sea Scrolls, which, of course, caused a lot of religious controversy because he didn't draw the conclusions that made the church happen.
Really interesting work. And so religion has evolved, and we now take it as it's obvious. Apparently,
all right, let's end this broadcast on a good note.
There's really good evidence that, not even Jesus ever called himself God. His followers never did either. And
yeah, I don't think Jesus ever called himself God either. I don't think his followers did either.
And so that's fascinating. Again, you should be skeptical about it.
Let's end it on this. What are we playing?
I wrote a piece for the New Yorker once that said all scientists should be.
I think me and Lawrence Krauss could have a really good, interesting conversation. I'm so tempted. It's like every time I want to respond or listen or see what's playing on my music, it's like all I do is turn my head away from the camera. This is why I can't be a YouTuber. I can't imagine trying to get points across and just staring into a camera and not being able to move my head. I wonder how other YouTubers deal with this kind of stuff.
when I asked that question, in many cases I'm called a militant atheist. How dare you question our God? And I said, nothing should be above question. Nothing should.
How dare you question us?
Nothing should be sacred. Everything should be open to question. So if simply questioning makes me a militant atheist, then all scientists should be militant atheists because we should adore questioning. And so I wasn't arguing, we should be, out handing out pamphlets.
That's funny, Lawrence. He's like, I don't want to hand out pamphlets telling people to question shit.
As simple as sacrilege should not be on the air, should not be allowed to have that discussion, because how dare we question the divinity of Jesus Christ, because after all, he was God, and to question his divinity is to do the work of the devil.
No, man.
And that's so sad, because, you should be questioning.
Alright, so let's end this broadcast on a good note here. I'm not going to sit through the entire 4-minute song as much as I like the song.
People are believers in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
And I will be on later tonight. Peace out.
Exactly. But by the way, I don't like the word believer.